MicroStrategy. This stock has been up over 160% in the last 6 months and up over 430% over the last year. But here is the question. What is the difference between a good quality stock that you can have confidence in for the long term and a stock that could be a sham? My answer might actually shock you. Let's go ahead and break it down. This company came out of the blue for a few reasons. Number one, yes, I do read the comments. For those that don't know, I read the comments, I read the emails, and one of y'all suggested that I break this company down, and it was worth it. It was absolutely worth it, because I mean, you give me a company that looks good and it has this type of performance, you got my attention. You have my attention. And this company is one that has gained a ton of traction, but anytime that a company does this well, or any company that looks good and sounds like it is worth investing, we always have to ask this question. Why? Why is this company doing well? This is standard. It doesn't matter if it's Apple, it doesn't matter if it's Walmart. We must ask the question, why? The reason why we have to ask that question is because we need to understand, because if we are going to put our money into it, right, we want to make sure that it can continue, right? I need to see what are the conditions. If you did well in this period of time, I need to see if that period of time or that weather, right, is going to continue over the next X amount of time. For example, we talked about Walmart a ton of time last year, right? And a part of that, well, it's not the only thing, a part of that was because people felt inflation was too high. A part of that was that they did the stock split. And a part of that was the history that I've talked about, where in that previous year or the year after a stock split, those stocks tend to beat the S&P 500. Well, once that year is up, we're going to come back and reevaluate Walmart. That year is not up just yet. Okay, that's one part of it. Why did Walmart do well? Why do I think that it's going to continue to do it? That's a part of it. Another example, Peloton. I did not invest in it. I was concerned back during the pandemic because why was it doing well at that time? People were locked at home. They could not go to gyms. The only thing they could do was be on a Peloton bike, and people were craving that social aspect of Peloton and what it gave. When you could go outside and meet people again, what did Peloton truly offer? And then the stock suffered. That why wasn't something I was confident in moving past the pandemic. And then you started to see why the company and why the stock fell off. So why is MicroStrategy doing well? You can boil it down to one single word: Bitcoin. Surprisingly, Bitcoin. Of all the things, it is Bitcoin. Starting in 2020, the CEO shifted strategies, if you want to call it a shift in strategy, and started buying Bitcoin in 2020. And from the comments that I have read from several articles, he is very, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing per se, but he's very bullish on Bitcoin. And what do I mean by very bullish? He has said at one point that he thinks at $100,000 per coin, that $100,000 is a 90% discount. That's wild. He thinks it's going to go to $1 million per coin. Now, he didn't give a timeline, which, you know, it is what it is. I'm not here to say that it is or is not going to get to $1 million, but call it whatever it is that you want. But if you start to look at when Bitcoin started to take off, roughly 2023, and saw where it got to in 2024 once it hit 100,000, you will see that MicroStrategy pretty much mirrored that exact same explosion, which is interesting, because then the question is, well, what exactly does MicroStrategy do? What is their business? Are they like a Coinbase? Are they even finance related, finance adjacent? The answer would be no. They have nothing. Their business model has nothing to do with Bitcoin or money or finance per se. They are a software company. They sell subscription service for business analytics. That is what their description does. And unfortunately, they are a one-trick pony. And I would argue they're not even good at doing that. When you look at their financial statements, over the last 3 years, 3 out of the last 4 years, they've actually lost money. The company has been around since 1989. At this point, you should be good at doing what you are doing. You shouldn't be losing money right now. Right now in 2023, the most recent annual statement, they did make money, so congrats to them. But also, their revenue has been falling, even in 2023. So you are bringing in less money and their costs are increasing. In Q3 alone, just Q3, okay, just Q3 of 2023, we saw, I'll put the correct year, but in either case, they saw a 300% increase in cost. So what is going on here from a business perspective? All I see is you buying Bitcoin, Bitcoin is going up, therefore your stock is going up, and people are excited about that. They're not excited about you as a company. And it just seems like a proxy for Bitcoin, and that's really it. And just like we see Bitcoin at the time I'm recording this, it's at 94,000. Bitcoin is falling. So too is the stock, and it just seems to be very correlated with that. If you believe in this stock, or if anybody believes in this stock and you want to buy this, I would just buy Bitcoin instead, if that's what you really want to do, because they seem in lockstep. If you want to buy something that is like, hey, I don't really believe in crypto that much, it doesn't have as many protections, so on and so forth, which is true, and you want to buy something that, you know, is Bitcoin adjacent, then maybe this may make sense because it's not a 24-hour market, so on and so forth. Then I guess so. But this feels off, right? Because they are, not you specifically, but they're spending a lot of time doing stuff that's not their main thing and nothing to do with their main thing at all. But this goes exactly back to what we had talked about yesterday. Well, really two things. But one, go back and look at the chart of how this came to be. Again, this company has been around for a while, but watch how everything was relatively flat, and all of a sudden, this just started to explode. You should be weary when a company pretty much came out of nowhere and started to explode, especially when you consider that the only reason as to why is because they were investing in Bitcoin, not because of a new product, not because of something they have truly done themselves, just because they are acquiring the same exact asset that you could have done on your own. Like, they truly have not done anything that you could have done on your own. Now, they can do millions and millions of dollars more, honestly, right? But you could have done a direct deposit or an automated deposit of $100 a month in Bitcoin too. That's what they've been doing every quarter. I mean, honestly, they have. And you would have made 400%, I suppose, or whatever Bitcoin has done over the last year too. That would have been the case. And just like they have fallen X amount over the last month and a half, that would have happened too. And the exact same thing that I was concerned about, I said, when Bitcoin hit 100,000, what's going to happen once it hits 100,000? Are people going to start to cash out, which has started to happen. Now, I think things will be fine for Bitcoin long term, but we'll see what happens with that. So I'm not the biggest fan here. But again, the lesson here is this. It is the research piece. That is the key, because if you didn't subscribe to this channel and watch the entire video, then you would have known that, right? But also, you've got to be able to see and separate what is actually going on behind the curtain, because most investors do not. Most good investors do not. And most people don't know where to look, how to find that information. They just see, oh, the thing is on the TV, I'm investing. People are talking about it on these social media apps, I'm going to invest, and just blindly go with it, as opposed to, well, wait a minute, why is it actually doing that, and what is truly behind it? Because at some point, we do know that crypto is volatile, and though it is doing well, when you take a step back, it is doing well right now, but we also know crypto is volatile. We know every, 18 months or so, it takes a sharp fall, which might be the time for you to buy, right, that crypto. But this stock will likely crash with it whenever that time comes. I don't know when it is. But you want to be careful of that. And while you think you could be buying a good quality stock, it may not be, because all they did was just blindly buy Bitcoin as opposed to building a good business that you can truly have confidence in. So you got to be able to research. So how do you do research? And how can you be better at that entire process? Well, I have an entire module on that in our 2025 workshop. And one thing you want to know about this workshop, it is only available until the 17th. Once I close this workshop, we are not doing this workshop again. I've already gotten some great reviews and great feedback for the workshop. It opened earlier this week, but again, it will close on the 17th. So that workshop link is right here. You want to make sure you check it out. If you want more on how you can start investing this year and anytime in the future, we can't go back in the past. If you want more on how you can start investing, then you want to check out these videos right here.